Welcome to today's gaming retrospective, where we take a deeper look into the critically acclaimed RPG king, The Witcher 3 Wild Hunt, which follows monster hunter Geralt of Rivia, the White Wolf, the Butcher of Blaviken, the Goat. Now, the purpose for our retrospective here on this channel are to look at the developer, its release date, and summarize the story. We will also take a look at its gameplay, open world, customization, and inspirations. We will dive into its reception and any DLCs it may have, as well as looking at its overall sales. You will also get some of my personal views and my favorite quests. Thank you for stopping by, and expect spoilers ahead. The Witcher 3 Wild Hunt was developed by CD Projekt Red. This developer is based in Warsaw, Poland. They were founded by Marcin Iwinski and Mike Kinsinski. The studio was founded back in May of 1994 and has been active for 29 years. CD Projekt Red has been very successful, and some of the notable work they have done so far include the Witcher series 1, 2, and 3. Also the release of the very divisive but beautiful Cyberpunk 2077. This developer has been loved in the past, but more recently it had to deal with some pretty strong hate. But over the past 3 years, they have done some incredible work to get back that reputation that they once held. The Witcher 3 Wild Hunt was released for the PlayStation 4, Xbox One, and Windows PC on May 18, 2015, in North America and in Europe. 4 years later, in 2019, a version of the Nintendo Switch would be released. Then in December of 2022, a next-generation version would release for the modern consoles, the PlayStation 5 and the Xbox Series X. The team at CD Projekt Red went into early production for The Witcher 3 Wild Hunt back in 2011 and announced it to the world in 2013. The game was supposed to originally release in 2014 before releasing the following year. The game would be billed as a Skyrim in a Game of Thrones sauce, according to co-founder Marcin Iwinski. Now, the gameplay of The Witcher 3 Wild Hunt mainly consists of walking, running, jumping, swimming, dodging, and the use of your two swords. One that is specifically used for killing humans and another that is specifically used for killing monsters. Geralt also carries a crossbow and many different bombs. Geralt is also a specialist when it comes to some magic, where he can use Quen, that helps with blocking attacks, Ard, which is a powerful blast, Igni, which burns enemies, and many more. The Witcher 3 Wild Hunt is played from a third-person perspective and is an action role-playing video game. Although the vast majority of players would consider this game a masterpiece or a generational game that defined a decade of RPGs, one of the biggest complaints has been that Geralt felt very awkward to handle, especially if people weren't used to this type of game. Geralt also had a knack for dying from very short distances when it came from jumping off of sort of relatively high places. The horse you use in the game, which is used as your main form of transportation, is kind of an idiot and always finds himself in troubling situations. This led to many not being able to play and or finish the game because they couldn't get past some of the gameplay.
Another drifter in from Thumbail.
The open world of The Witcher 3 Wild Hunt is one of the most in-depth and beautiful open worlds in gaming, even in 2024, almost a decade after its release. There are many things you can find scattered throughout the world that lead to side missions, that lead to treasures, leads to legendary armor, or leads to a variety of monsters. There are many people that are looking for your help and are willing to pay, and there's many that hate you and will spit on you or curse you out as you walk by. There is a huge amount of side quests to do, and they all vary from small things to missions that branch off and feel like main storylines. And the beauty of it is your choices. You can actually decide what happens to many of the people that you encounter, which can include humans, monsters, and other fellow Witchers.
We've many ill among us. You let me go, and they might live and fight once more for a free North.
I'm taking you to the Nilfgaardians. You're a murderer, not a soldier.
And you're a traitor. There's a scaffold out there with your name on it.
A note. Potion recipe. brewed with celandine. Should look for the places mentioned.
Please, help me!
Sounds sincere enough.
Found me. Congratulations.
Do I get a prize?
I have nothing on me, but I'll think of something.
The open world of The Witcher is one that many games after it tried to replicate, like the massive Assassin's Creed RPGs that have recently come out. However, a lot of these games lack the lore and uniqueness that Witcher 3's open world delivered. Velen feels broken, abandoned, dangerous, and evil. Novigrad feels like a city bursting with life where many of the better people or better off people live, but you can sense that there's a danger in Novigrad that may be even worse than that of Velen. The Skellige Islands feel like a different part of the world. It feels more powerful than the previous locations, and it feels cold and snowy and rainy. Each location feels vastly different. And one thing that they all have in common is that the world feels alive, and you will be in danger no matter where you are. The customization in The Witcher 3 Wild Hunt is vast. Although you receive an already created character in Geralt, you can make him unique and to your likeness. You can go more traditional with long hair and a clean shave, or you can go with the sides shaved and a big beard. You can also style your hair very short with a mustache. The gear you get in the game is also one of the best things about it. There's many armors you can find throughout the world, and many armors you can create. The swords in the game are also incredibly beautiful, and you can switch between many different options. The gear you wear also helps with giving you more strength or agility and or health resistance. There are also extra outfits for a lot of the characters that you meet in the game, like Yen, Triss, Dandelion, and Ciri. There are also different colored dyes that you can apply to your favorite armors to give them a different look. The Witcher 3 Wild Hunt obviously draws its inspiration from the Witcher book series from Polish writer Andrzej Sapkowski, who has written a total of 8 books set in the Witcher world, spanning from 1994 with his debut book The Last Wish, all the way until 2013 with Seasons of Storm. A lot of the game also draws inspiration from European and Polish folklore. One of its biggest inspirations is Slavic folklore, and you can see that scattered all throughout the world of The Witcher, especially in the creatures that we meet and fight. The reception for The Witcher 3 Wild Hunt was all-time high. It received lots of love and praise. On Metacritic, it holds a 93 out of 100 for the PC, and a 92 out of 100 for the PS4, and a 91 out of 100 with the Xbox Series X. The game was called many things, and among those were immersive, ambitious, grand in scale, and its open world received high praise, with many calling it varied, and they enjoyed the fact that some of the side quests wouldn't activate unless you met certain characters around the open world first. Its story also received critical acclaim, and its characters were branded as interesting. Many also enjoyed the fact that the love story involving the Witcher Geralt was more interesting and fleshed out this time around.
This how you imagined things?
No. I imagined I'd be on the ship with the rest of them, and you'd be on shore. Waving a handkerchief, maybe.
I hope you don't regret it, that things have gone differently.
Well, they say Kavir's lovely this time of year, but I prefer you.
Not surprised. I'm pretty lovely this time of year, too.
I won't disagree. We might still go there one day, when it's all over.
That would mean balls and banquets, and other boring things that start with a B.
But also baths, bombs, body massages. You can make up for all those years you slept in the bushes and bathed in mountain streams.
Wait,
For what?
we must talk to Krak.
Why? Think he misses us? Because I missed you. Oh no.
I missed you too.
When are you gonna finally burn this piece of junk?
My heart couldn't take it. So many memories.
However, not everyone liked it, with a writer from Polygon citing female characters were over-sexualized, and there were no people of color. Despite all this praise and universal acclaim, the game did suffer from some technical issues, and it had quite a few bugs when it first released. Of course, all of this has since been taken care of in the past 9 years, and the game eventually would go on to be branded one of the greatest games of all time. In terms of sales, the game did ridiculously well. Before it even released, 1.5 million people had already pre-ordered it, and 2 weeks after its release, it had sold over 4 million units. And by the end of the first half of 2015, CD Projekt Red had made a profit of over $60 million. The units sold would continue to rise over the next couple of years, as more releases of the games would come out for the Switch and modern-day consoles. The total sales have exceeded over 50 million units sold as of March of 2023. This makes The Witcher 3 Wild Hunt one of the best-selling games of all time. The Witcher 3 Wild Hunt story revolves around Geralt of Rivia and his adopted daughter Ciri. Geralt heads to White Orchard after receiving a letter from the love of his life, Yennefer. After he arrives and meets with Yen, she takes him to meet with the Emperor Emir, the real father of Ciri. The Emperor wants Geralt to find his daughter and bring her back to him as soon as possible, as Ciri has been on the run from the Wild Hunt, who is after her powers of the Elder Blood. This grants her the manipulation of time and space.
Take it you didn't summon me to reminisce about the good old days, so...
Silence. My daughter Cirilla, she's returned. And she's in danger. The Wild Hunt pursues her. You will find her and bring her to me.
Geralt begins a long and treacherous journey to find her. This leads him to Velen, Novigrad, and the Skellige Islands, where Ciri has been spotted. After a while, Geralt finally finds Ciri. She is in the Isles of Mist, where she is hidden from the Wild Hunt. Geralt takes Ciri with him to Kaer Morhen, where they prepare an assault against the Wild Hunt to end his search for Ciri. But the assault doesn't go as planned, and the Wild Hunt overpowers them, killing Vesemir in the process, which is Geralt's teacher and a sort of grandfather figure for Ciri. She loses control of her powers after this and forces the Hunt and his troops to retreat. When the battle is over, Ciri, Yennefer, and Geralt formulate a new plan, and with the help from many of their friends, Eredin, the Wild Hunt, is lured to Skellige Islands to fight Geralt, and the White Wolf comes out on top.
I was hoping you'd come.
Because?
I've something to tell you. But I'll do so afterwards. As you expire.
With the Hunt defeated, the White Frost now has to be dealt with. The White Frost is essentially the end of the world, and it can only be stopped by Ciri. Now, I'll be leaving the story summary here, and I will admit that if I were to dedicate myself to explaining everything that happens throughout the events of The Witcher 3, we would be sitting here for a long time. This is a very, and I mean very quick overview of the events of the game. I would recommend you play it if you haven't before. It is some of the best storytelling I've ever experienced. CD Projekt Red will go on to release 2 DLCs for The Witcher 3 Wild Hunt. And to the surprise of many, these 2 DLCs would go down in history as some of the best downloadable content of all time. The first is called Hearts of Stone.
She loved me. After all that's passed. Iris. What a mess we made of it all. If I'd only known then how it would end.
The Hearts of Stone DLC is an incredibly deep and sad story that pits you against a foe that seems unbeatable. It also follows a story of a husband and wife and their failed marriage. It blends reality with fiction, and in my opinion almost better than anything The Witcher has ever done. Geralt also meets a past lover who he seems to have a lot of chemistry with, and you can choose to pursue this or not. But it's different from what Geralt usually goes for. She isn't a witch or a sorceress. She's just a regular girl trying to help those in need, which gives the relationship a different dynamic.
Trying to save his life. Help me!
Shani, calm down. He's dead.
I'm sure something can be done.
Let it go.
Damn it! All for nothing.
You did all you could.
Thanks, Geralt. It's, good to see you.
You too. Lost track of you after I left Vizima.
The DLC Hearts of Stone is considered the lesser of the two DLCs that CD Projekt Red created, but on a personal level I think it's their best work. It may not be as long as the other DLC, but it is written incredibly well and leans heavy into monster hunting. Although it was received very well, I believe the Hearts of Stone DLC is deserving of even greater praise.
Be gone. You've lost.
And the second one is still talked about today. Blood and Wine.
Unexpected as ever.
Blood and Wine is a masterpiece and something you'll likely never see again. Getting to Toussaint is like entering a tale from Disney. The view of the castle, the guards, the way people speak, how vibrant and colorful it is, and of course, the Duchess. But under all the color and happiness, there is darkness in Blood and Wine. It's a tale of murder and mystery, a tale of forgotten lovers and manipulation. You have been called by the Duchess herself to solve the killings of her former knights. What you find is mutilated bodies that have been gruesomely murdered. You have to find this murderer dubbed the Beast before he continues his killing spree. You learn he means to strike again soon, and you end up having a small encounter with the Beast, who we would discover is Dettclaff, a higher vampire that is very angry and dangerous. However, he is a close friend of our dear friend, Regis, another higher vampire. So with the help of Regis, we set out to find what is causing Dettclaff to murder. Is it out of pleasure, or is something bigger going on? Now with the story set, you can decide to pursue it or set out to explore a little bit, because Toussaint is vast and many new armor diagrams have been laid out and new weapons as well. Now the Duchess Anna Henrietta is an interesting and charismatic ruler. She loves her people and her people love her back. She's strong-willed and not afraid to go out and get her hands dirty. She's stern as well, and if you get out of line, she'll put you right back in your place. However, she does have a weak spot for a certain someone. Her sister, who was banished long ago due to a curse. Sienna Henrietta is her name. Look, the Blood and Wine DLC is recognized by many as one of the best DLCs ever made for its length, for its new city, for its story, and how well it all blends together. There's not much that I can say that hasn't been said already. But going through the journey and knowing that this is Geralt's last stop, his last adventure, it's beautiful. And it makes it that much more meaningful as you explore and you enjoy, because you know that these are his last tales. It's saying goodbye to a wonderful, deep, and one-of-a-kind character. And once again, the choices you make lead you down a road. What happens is in your hand. Who lives, who dies, who you meet, who you don't. The game is rich with choice. Blood and Wine is the perfect goodbye to an almost perfect game. There has been no sequel announced that would follow the events of The Witcher 3 Wild Hunt, and that is very understandable, as CD Projekt Red announced that game would be the last time that we would control the legendary White Wolf. The third game wraps up the story arc that began with 2007's The Witcher. However, there has been an announcement regarding a new Witcher game that is set to follow a new Witcher and their journey as a monster slayer. Not many details have been released about this yet, and we know that the team at CD Projekt Red has now fully moved over to begin work on it, as well as beginning work on a remake of the 2007 Witcher game, which, if done well, could spawn a remake of their second Witcher game, Assassin of Kings, which released back in 2011. Now, I'm sad that we won't be seeing any new stories that follow the legendary Geralt of Rivia, but in any medium of entertainment, there is always an ending, and I am very happy that my Geralt, in my playthrough, got his very well deserved ending. The Witcher 3 Wild Hunt also brought many new eyes to the series of books that Andrzej Sapkowski wrote, and with the millions of copies that the game sold and all the buzz that it got, I would say that it had some contributions in Netflix releasing a TV series surrounding Geralt that starred Henry Cavill for 3 seasons. Now, I won't get into the details and the inaccuracies that the TV show has, but I also know that the show isn't based on the books. But Henry Cavill gives a perfect performance as Geralt, and the only time that I look forward to the show was when he was on screen. The Witcher is a very popular name today, and I hope that the show doesn't cause it to take a hit. The relationship between Geralt and Ciri is a beautiful one. From what we know, Geralt sees Ciri as his daughter and Ciri sees Geralt as her father, and it is so much more apparent than I even remember. The main point of the Witcher 3 Wild Hunt is to find Ciri and stop the Wild Hunt from killing her. We get tasked with this because we are the only ones that can find her, and we will stop at nothing to save her. And here we start to realize how important Ciri is to Geralt. We can see the desperation in Geralt's eyes every time that he speaks about her. We can hear the worry in his voice as he hopes to find her. He loves her and isn't afraid to show it. Geralt is quite different around many characters, but with Ciri it's different, it's special, and I for one have always wanted to have a daughter, and seeing their relationship unfold in The Witcher 3 was my favorite part. I could really tell how soft Geralt was when it came to Cirilla, how warm and understanding, and with the moments that they share, if you decide to do right by her, is such a great thing to see, especially in video games. Letting her make her own choices and believing and trusting her is something that can be extremely difficult, especially when you know how bad the world truly is. However, it's even better to see Ciri grow and mature and see her become the person she wants to be. She loves Geralt and respects him, and it makes me extremely happy. And the crazy thing is that I felt real emotion through their journey. I felt happiness when she seemed at peace and sadness when she cried. CD Projekt Red did an amazing job capturing all of these moments and all of these emotions. My absolute favorite is when Ciri and Geralt embrace each other with a hug and with a smile. It feels right, and I love to see Geralt joyful and happy. I equally like to see Ciri just feel safe and understood with her dad. I mean, in a world where everyone wants to kill her or protect her or has a higher plan for her, it's even better when Geralt is the opposite. Even though we know we want and will do anything to make sure she survives, but it's the understanding of when to be helpful and when to let her be. The story of Geralt and Ciri is one crucial to the story of the Wild Hunt, and to know that aspect almost perfectly, it makes for a truly special experience. I love them together as father and daughter, and they are up there as one of my favorite interpretations of father and daughter in video games.
Thank you for coming with me.
Come here.
The Witcher 3 Wild Hunt is one of those games that I would consider all-time great. I would dare say that it's my favorite game of all time. Now, I know that it's all relative when it comes to what's the best or what's the greatest game of all time. And on a personal level, I have The Witcher 3, Red Dead Redemption 2, and The Last of Us Part 1. These games to me are the top of the top. You and many others can debate where it sits on your all-time list. But one thing that can't be argued is the massive impact that it had and the many games it has inspired. Some may say for better or worse. The Witcher 3 Wild Hunt is and always will be a generational game that changed RPGs forever. Thank you for joining me on this episode of Gaming Retrospective, where I take a deeper look into one of the greatest games of all time, The Witcher 3 Wild Hunt. Please remember to subscribe and drop a like on the video if you enjoyed it, as it helps with the growth of the channel and allows me to continue to make more videos like this one. Thank you very much, and I'll catch you in the next episode.